In today's show, after a rocky Game 1 at Summer League, Donovan Clingan takes real strides in Game 2. And the Blazers just utilized him better. Welcome to Locked On Blazers. Let's get into it.
You are Locked On Trailblazers, your daily Portland Trailblazers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
What's up, world? Past first point guard and Trailblazers reporter Mike Richmond. You are listening to another episode of Locked On Blazers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, available wherever you get podcasts and also on YouTube. Thanks for making the show your first listen. Coming at you each and every weekday, Monday through Friday, so make it a part of your daily routine. Make it your first listen. Tell your friends to do the same. It's Locked On Blazers, your team every day. In today's show, we're talking about the Blazers' second Summer League game, a last-second win. They hold on to beat the Sixers in a game where the results don't matter, but the process was so much better. Talk about Donovan Clingan, who I think the Blazers just straight up utilized better. They put him in positions to succeed. Imagine that. And he succeeded a lot better than he did in Game 1. Talk about some secondary guys that we didn't mention in the first, after our first game recap. We'll talk Bryce McGowens, a little bit Justin Minaya, a little bit of Jacky Cui. And then the rest of the roster guys, Kris, Murray, and Ryan Rupert to close the show. But we'll focus on that. Well, that's today's show. We're gonna talk about these Blazers win over the Sixers. You know what? I'll give it to you. I didn't do the box score of the last game. I'll even tell you the score of this one. Blazers win 97-95. Not too much box score stuff in Summer League because I think the box score, I don't think it's totally meaningless, but I think like the function of how the game looked is several standard deviations more important than the counting stats. It's probably always is, but I think it's really, really, really overstated in Summer League. Like the numbers don't matter. So when I watched the game, I didn't worry too much about Donovan Clingan's numbers because immediately I was more excited about how the Blazers were using him. Immediately. His first two touches early in this game were high post touches out of horns, which is like when you have two guys at the elbows, one at the corner of the free throw line. Two guys set up there and the point guard comes across half court and then an action triggers something. Either those guys screen for each other or one of them sets a screen on the ball, but like you start in horns where those two guys are at the corners of the lane. And getting Clingan early touches out of the high post, like right away to begin the game. The first offensive set is a high post touch for Clingan. It's like, yes, that's how they got to use him. That's it. I mentioned in the shout out to my everydayers. If you listen to my yesterday's show talking about the Blazers' first preseason game, it's like they did that to open the second half of Game 1. It's like, okay, yeah, this is how they're going to use him because they just don't have enough of a pick and roll manipulator to make Donovan Clingan an effective pick and roll player. And so they just went away from it. They said, you know what? That's not going to be the thing that works for us. His first touch, he makes a great read. He throws the ball inside Kennedy Chandler, and Kennedy Chandler is like 5'10", and he couldn't score underneath the rim, but it was a great read, great pass. If you throw that to an NBA level athlete, that's a dunk. Like it's just, I was maybe a little bit ahead of him, but like, again, it's like, it's someone who can't explode up to the rim for an easy one or get through contact. It's just like a smaller point guard catches it inside. It's a great read. Second time they run the horn stuff, he gets fouled. And then basically from there, they ran it one more time, and he got into a DHO action. That's a dribble handoff. I'm good. Too much terminology in the opening segment. Horns and DHO, but they ran dribble handoff with Ryan Rupert. Clingan set a good solid screen, and Rupert got himself into the paint and made a runner off the glass. And like then almost immediately, Philly goes zone, and they played this 2-3 zone, 2-3 matchup-y zone the rest of the game, almost every possession for the rest of the game. They stuck in that zone, and they sat in it, and Donovan Clingan worked himself to the top of the key and ate it alive. It wasn't like why I'm harping so much on how they used him in the passing right away is because his individual offense is just not there. I don't think that's a surprise. He was a guy who didn't display a lot of shooting range in college. He's a guy who didn't shoot particularly well from the free throw line in college. The way he scored in college, because he's really freaking big, he's not going to be a direct post-up guy. He's not like he's a lob threat in the sense that he's 7'2", right? And you can throw it up above the rim and he can dunk it, but he's not like jumping up above the square. He's not a leaper, right? He's not. That's not what he is. he's a really good passing big man who can really play defense. So utilize him in ways that lets him be that. And I thought today he was so much better. And it starts with the way he was utilized. It starts with the way the Blazers chose to get Donovan Clingan involved. It was just intelligent deployment, intelligent utilization, maximizing what he can do. Shout out to Jonah Herskew, the Blazers assistant coach who's running the summer league team. This was just a really smart game plan. And I thought on defense, Donovan Clingan was good. I thought he was good. He didn't block as many shots as he did in the other game, but he's in the way. He alternates things, and he turns guys away when they drive to the rim. He's not there. Ricky Council from Philly, who's like pretty aggressive going to the rim. He wasn't scared of Donovan Clingan, but some of the maybe other guys like the Justin Edwardses of the world were like, yeah, I'm taking a pull up. I'm taking a pull up. Like I'm absolutely going to take a pull up here. And I thought the passing was on full display. He had a couple backdoor, one to Chandler late in the game. He had one to Ryan Rupert in the first half. That was just a really great cut. He had a little slot cut where he found McGowens cutting when he caught it. He kind of caught it on a broken play. And then he had some highlights. And that's what you needed. His individual offense is farther away, right? His individual offense is farther away. I thought this was a good defensive game. I thought it was an excellent passing game from Clingan. And it starts with the Blazers' game plan to put him in position to succeed as a passer. But what you needed here was something to feel good about. Something to say, ooh, that's fun. And like some nifty passing from the top of the key is fun, but it's not hoo. It doesn't get you up out of your chair so much. Maybe you clap a little bit, but you're not up out of your chair. But in the third quarter, he catches one. It's kind of a broken play. They're again going to him at the high post, and he's trying to his defender tries to make a steal. He corrals the ball, gets his defender on his back because they gambled. He catches it. Actually, his feet are on the three-point line. He takes two steps and a dribble in and crams all over Adem Bono. Welcome to the league, buddy. Bono was pretty good. Fouled too much, but he plays hard. And Donovan Clingan crammed all over him. A huge poster dunk, the DC poster, Kling Kong in the building, the sort of signature highlight of his first two games. Clingan was excellent in a boring way, and that is what you really want, is a guy who just said, I can really pass, and I'm going to really pass in the way I can do it, which is catch at the top of the key, pump fake, read that baseline cutter and deliver, hold that middle of the zone and make those passes. But he still had the highlight to kind of make you feel a little bit better about what he can do on offense. What I really like about how they utilized him there. On defense, I think he'll get there. I think there's going to be some speed and quickness issues with him early in his career, and we'll see what he ends up. But like, he's so into it on defense, right? Like, he knows what he's supposed to do. He's playing deep drop. You can hear him communicating down. That means send the pick and roll ball handler down towards me. He's saying we're downing the screens. Like, he's communicating out there. Maybe I'll have concerns when I see him against NBA level competition, but like, his feel on defense is not a problem. The utilization on offense was so much better. And he didn't look for threes. He touched the ball at the top of the key a lot. With space, and he utilized what he's actually good at. Go do what you're good at. He can really pass, and they used him in that way. I thought this was a really, really solid game from Clingan. This made me feel a lot more comfortable about how he could be utilized in the regular season, because this is the role he's going to have. He's going to play short bursts. The Blazers played him very, very intentionally, about 6 minutes at a time. It was very clear based on the sub pattern that they were like, let's not run him out too much, because he just hasn't played that much. He hasn't played that much live basketball. The thing about lottery picks, they have this really weird situation where they go play college basketball until their college basketball season ends, right? And some guys it's way earlier, and for Clingan it was the last possible game, right? And then you don't play fives. You do workout stuff and you travel around and you get prepared for the draft, but you don't really play live 5-on-5 basketball in an organized setting until you get to camp. So Clingan just hadn't played a lot of hoops. I think there's already concerns about it, in general, his conditioning at the highest level. He's not a big minute guy in college, but it's on top of that, he hadn't played much basketball in a long time. He admitted as much in the first day of Blazers Summer League camp. It's just I haven't run that much. I haven't played that much fives because my schedule hasn't allowed me to. And when you're working out when you're going to get drafted, no one wants you to go play pickup. They want you to stay healthy, get fitted for a suit, and go get a bunch of money. and you can play basketball when you get to Vegas in Summer League, and that's what he's doing. And the Blazers, they were very, very intentional about giving him short bursts. In fact, the broadcast was like kind of they were like, we've only seen him for 10 minutes. They weren't, they're not as clued in as you and I because they're not as like the obsessives. That's why you listen to Locked On Blazers. It's for the junkies, baby. But they were really intentional about how they used him, both in his minutes, which I think is going to be similar to how he's used in the regular season, like short bursts. Okay, you're going to play 7 minutes a half, buddy. Go for it, dog. Like you got 14 minutes today. Make the most of it. And then like high post as a high post hub, as a high post decision maker. Utilize his skills. Don't make him just a pick and roll guy. Maybe Scoot can unlock a lot of what Clingan can do, and I think there's hope for that. But I think the best version of him is going to be this guy who runs high post stuff, dribble handoffs, utilizes his passing to open up the rest of the floor, utilizes, allows the Blazers to. They have some guys who can really cut. Tamani Kamaro's a really good cutter. I think Denny Avdia is going to be a really good cutter. Like, I think you saw the outlines of what it could look like. He doesn't look like a dude who's going to dominate the league right away. But in game one, he looked pretty far away. And then in game two, it's like when they put him in positions to succeed. Again, shout out to the coaching staff. I want much, much, much stronger game plan in game two. And obviously everyone's learning themselves and it's all new and all that, right? With the obvious caveats. But they utilized him way better and he looked way better. And then when it was winning time, he made plays to help them win. Huge plays to help them win. With under a minute left, he gets a bucket inside. Gets an offensive rebound, goes back up with it. He kind of went up quick because he realized he was kind of off balance, threw it off the glass hard, grabbed a second offensive rebound, puts it back in. Blazers, to give the Blazers a lead. And then Philly has to come down, and Jared McCain comes off a screen and takes a jump shot, and Clingan blocks the jumper at 17 feet, swats a pull-up jump shot. Then after free throws and Philly's trying to get the ball back in for one more chance. Well, Clingan is on the ball and makes it really hard for them to get the ball in bounds, and they have a 5-second violation because he put a 7'2" guy with active hands on the ball, and Jared McCain can't get the ball in bounds. Maybe don't have the 6'2" guy throwing in 7'2" guy, but that's a Philly thing, not a Portland thing. Clingan, he was utilized in the right way, made strides because he didn't. It wasn't like, oh man, they can't throw him a lob pass and he's getting, touches that he can't finish. It was a very simple play to your strengths. Have your strengths be strong. His strengths were strong in this game. He didn't get beat for offensive rebounds. I thought he was really good on the defensive glass in terms of finding bodies, blocking out Tony Bradley and Adembona. Like, this was a good Clingan game. Not a light the world on fire Clingan game. I'm not selling you on that, but this was like obvious, legitimate progress and a much better process from both him and the Trailblazers coaching staff. An outright victory in the hope and the need some hope for Donovan Clingan. This was absolutely a hopeful performance. Let's talk about some other guys, including our first glimpse of Jacky Cui, who we got to see a little bit in the first half, and then a very brief cameo in the third quarter, plus the two-way guys, McGowens and Minaya. We'll talk about all of them in the second segment. Join me there, won't ya? First, though, I want to tell you that today's show is brought to you by FanDuel. It's America's #1 sports book. It's baseball season. So maybe you're itching to get on a little action. Well, FanDuel's making it fun. For all the time during baseball season for you to get in on the action. They also got summer league bets and WNBA bets, and they're making summer fun. They're making summer fun to be a fan. FanDuel's hooking up all customers with a boost or a bonus daily. That's new customers, that's old customers, returning customers, first-time customers, everybody. FanDuel is finding you something every day, all summer long. So head on over to FanDuel.com. Start making the most out of your summer. That's FanDuel, an official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball. All right. Let's talk about some other guys. DC, good night for DC. Oh, real quick. This is in my notes, and I want to say this before I forget it. When they play in the Rose Garden, at at the Moda Center. When they play in the Blazers home arena, when guys score, they'll play a little sound for them, right? They got a little sound drop that the boards will play. They pipe in a lot of sound at those games now. It wasn't always that way. They pipe in a lot of sound. But when they score, they'll play a little like drop, and it'll be someone's like kind of like signature, maybe like 3-second music drop. And for Clingan, who came over from UConn with the nickname Kling Kong, I think they got to play the song King Kong that I remembered by as a track by Chameleonaire. But then I looked it up prior to this podcast, and it's actually written by it's a song credited to another early 21st century rap artist, Jibbs, featuring Chameleonaire. Your boy does not have that strong a memory. I also remember Lil Wayne rapping over it on The Drought 3. Incredible mixtape. Wheezy made it look easy. But yeah, they got to play King Kong. The King Kong drop. The chorus from that song, if you want to look it up on YouTube or wherever you listen to music, it's like many rap songs of its time. It starts with the chorus. Yeah, check it out. This absolutely has to be Donovan Clingan's drop. Okay, you want to talk a little basketball, not just like a stupid thought I had because I am the age that I am. We got to see the Blazers, a likely future remix legend, a couple remix guys, maybe future remix guys in this game, but Jacky Cui, who's signed an Exhibit 10 deal. He had a chance to be the first Chinese player drafted since 2016, according to the broadcast tonight, but he went undrafted and the Blazers signed him to an E10 deal. He worked out for the Blazers in the pre-draft process. An Exhibit 10 deal is essentially a preferred G League contract. It offers guaranteed money if you go sign with that team's G League team. So it's basically saying like, we'd love to get you in our developmental program. Here's a little incentive to do so. Come join our summer league team. Come get involved with our process. Let's get you in the building and get you at the practice facility. And then you can sign with our G League team and you can be part of the program from there. The G League is not a direct minor league like system. Like everyone who plays for the Blazers G League team does not have like necessarily like a direct route to the NBA. It's like it just works differently. But you are like obviously like guys who are in their system they prefer and yada yada yada. But like it's two-way contracts are the direct route. A G League, someone who's in the G League is like not even technically like could be signed by someone else in the NBA. It's a little more tricky. It's not a true minor league system. But the little bit we saw Jacky Cui, dude could shoot it. He's big. Like he's a true 6'8" dude who could shoot it. And when he checked in late in the first quarter and kind of just like got a little cardio in, but then he was still on the court to open the second quarter, and he hits a corner three on his first touch. They get it to him in the corner. He's wide open. Cash shot it with confidence. Cash like just absolutely tickled the twine. Like just a really nice looking three. And then he came down in transition and in like semi-transition and gets a wing three, and Cash again hits back-to-back threes. Then the Blazers get a stop. They run the other way. I actually thought Cui was open on this possession, running just like he sprinted rim to rim, right? He runs down the middle of the paint. They don't see him. Donovan Clingan runs down the middle of the paint. They don't see him. But the ball loops around the perimeter. It's the problem with playing with like not a lot of dudes who can pass. Loops around the perimeter, finds Cui in the opposite corner from left to right in the opposite corner. He has a pump fake three. He gets the defender to bite, takes a little one dribble like he's going to take a mid-range pull-up, but the defender, the help defender comes and shows him a little bit of his body, a little bit too far out, and Cui whipped it inside to Clingan, and Clingan got a layup underneath. Like he comes in and has 2 threes and an assist like immediately in his first 3 touches, and then he basically disappeared, and then they didn't play him the rest of the half. I have no idea. Like that is such a small little piece of a glimpse of what he can be. So I literally have no idea. But I will say, like intriguing size because just big, and the jumpers he did take looked really good. He played a little bit in the second half and just like didn't get opportunities, and he didn't play much in this game. I'll give you a box score number. He played 8 minutes. He just didn't play very much. I would be surprised if he got the last two-way spot, but I think he is clearly a priority Rip City remixer. He's headed to the Child Center. He could be someone worth keeping an eye on because like the Blazers desperately need shooting, and he's the right size that he would fit into the, like, we desperately need shooting, and are you taller than 6'6"? Like he does check both those boxes. I hope we see a little bit more of him at Summer League, because the very first impression was like, yo, let this guy keep playing. But like, again, that was literally, he played like 4 minutes. He played 4.5 minutes. So it's like, well, and then he went to the bench and came back in the second half. I want to talk about the other two-way guys. There are guys who are on two-way contracts. It's Bryce McGowens and Justin Minaya. I think I've said on the podcast that I don't totally get the Blazers' appreciation of Justin Minaya, and I'd like to amend that. I get it. I understand it. Watching him in this game, I feel like I understand it. He doesn't do stuff outside of his skill set. First, one of the early plays in the game, he defends the passing lane, gets out, gets an easy bucket, gets a steal, and makes an assist for an easy bucket. Like, he just plays within himself the right way. He's going to play really hard on defense. He's going to take open threes when he has them. He's going to have straight line drives. He's not going to do a bunch of dribble moves. He's not going to try to make crazy plays off the bounce. He's going to keep it really simple. I guess I don't get, because my philosophy on two-way guys is I think you'd rather like swing. You'd either rather have like desperately address a position of need, say like for the Blazers, I think they could use another emergency point guard with their last two-way spot, or like a ball handler type, someone who could play a little. I do actually just think it's a point guard, but like they could use that. So you use two-way spots for like that, or it's like flyers, like just flyers on on upside guys. Like I think, while I don't think Ibubaji's an NBA player, and probably I don't think he will be, like I think he's the type that makes more sense, because it's like if this dude pops, there's just not that many athletes who are his size. Minaya is like a 6'5", 25-year-old who's not a great shooter and doesn't have a lot of offense, but I get it. I get why he plays, and I thought he was good in this game because he just like plays within himself, plays really hard on defense, takes the shots he can make. Justin Minaya knows exactly what he's supposed to do out there, and then he goes and does it. He's not going to do more, and he might do a little bit less, but he is just very, very, very cognizant of what his strengths are and how he can impact a team, and he goes out there and does it. Bryce McGowens, I think game one, he was a little bit shaky. I thought he had a couple drives to nowhere. I thought at the end of game two, he was crucial. Had two big and ones in the fourth quarter of this game, and like I don't think the shooting doesn't look like it's going to be a thing. I don't think he shot the ball terribly in this game from deep. As I peek at the box score, he didn't shoot terribly from deep. 2 of 6. I'm giving you box score numbers. I have it pulled up. Why am I going to lie to you? But like, I don't think he shot terribly, but he doesn't look like a shooter when he shoots it. Like when they go in, they look good, and he hit one in from the right wing in like in semi transition. It's like, woohoo, that looks good. But then he had some misses. They're like, oh yeah, okay, I get it. And some like clean looks that he missed. And I don't know that he'll be a shooter, but like and some of the slashing decisions he made in game one, he's just driving to nowhere, just driving into a crowd with no plan. I wish he had a little more playmaking juice. Like I wish he was a creative passer, but I think what he is a slasher, and he's like a big guard who can slash a little bit. Maybe he's like, I don't think he's a point guard. I wouldn't put him in that category, but certainly like skinny and 6'6". I thought him getting to the rim and finishing was nice. I'm not sure that he's, I'm intrigued by the package, but I think there's enough out there about, like, he's played enough NBA games that, people who've watched him more closely, including my Uncle Matt, who I asked for a scouting report. Uncle Matt, a big Hornets fan, big NBA fan, but a Hornets watcher, was like, yeah, his decision-making is tough. And I think that was in the first couple games. I'm like, sometimes McGowens is making some decisions where you're like, well, that's not it. That's not it. If he could shoot, he would be an NBA player, because I think he has enough, like at his size, he has enough skills to do a couple different things. Worthy two-way guy. Like I think it's an interesting two-way guy, but I feel like whereas Minaya has like a really strong understanding of what he does, I think Bryce McGowens still kind of dialing in. It's like, how am I going to help? And I think that is just part of it's just newness, right? Like he's just new to the program. So he's played 2 freaking summer league games. He played for the Charlotte Hornets last week in California. He's literally brand new. So I am no judgments. No judgments. Of course I'm going to make judgments. This is what I do. That's a freaking podcast. But it's like these are softly held opinions. I'm giving you my initial reactions, and I'm very malleable in this opinion. And as I watch him more the rest of the week and a little bit early in the season, and if reports of camp, etc., and then preseason stuff, I'll offer some more. But like, yeah, I think he's a worthy two-way guy. Okay, let's talk the roster, guys. Kris Murray was not very good. Rayan Rupert was really good to begin the game. Let's talk about both of those dudes to close the show. Join me in the third segment, won't ya? First, though, I want to tell you that today's show is brought to you by eBay Motors. There's 3 words you got to know. It's passion, it's drive, it's patience. It's the formula for winning championships, and it's also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. Whether that's superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has you covered. With over 122 million parts to choose from, you're always going to find what you need for your number one ride or die. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your parts guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back, because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, baby, not cash. With all the parts you need and the prices you want, it's easy to make your car the MVP and bring home huge wins. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit. Only available to U.S. customers. All right, still a pass first point guard. I'm still Mike Richmond, and you are still listening to Locked On Blazers. Let's talk about the roster, guys. Rayan Rupert was filling up the notebook early in this game. He was filling up the notebook. He took a dribble handoff and a really nice screen from Donovan Clingan, got himself down the right side of the paint and hit a little bank shot. He hit a 3 off a really nice drive and dish from Kris Murray, and then he had a cut and a left-handed finish with his strong hand on the left side of the rim. And it's like, oh, this is the Rupert game. This is the bounce back I believed in, right? Like he's young and still growing, and it's like I'm not putting a lot of stock into him needing to be like a dominant summer league player. But it's always better to watch guys play well than play poorly. And he had 9 points in that first quarter, and I was like, this he's really playing. He's really like, this is really, he's getting to his spots. He's scoring in transition. He's not trying to do too much off the dribble. Like he's just shoot, drive. Like he's making quick, decisive actions. Exactly what you want to see. He didn't score for the rest of the game. He didn't score for the final 3 quarters. I thought he had a great first quarter. Then he just kind of disappeared on offense. He's active on defense. Certainly, he has a lot of, I've said this before about him, he has a lot of want to on defense. There's some, sometimes he can get beat and get maybe bite a little bit and overextend himself, being a little too aggressive, trying to make plays. But he has a lot of want to. He had he had a steal in the half court, and then immediately jumped on the ball and turned it over, trying to corral it. But he has a lot of want to on defense. I think he has tools to be a pretty good defender as he gets there. And for a brief moment in that first quarter, I could see the vision with Rupert as a guy who can get himself to the rim with length. He's already shown that he's a pretty good standstill shooter with touch to score inside, defensive chops, extremely long arms. Oh my goodness, that's a player. It's just there's a lot of in-between stuff where the details get away from him, and he doesn't look as cleanly, as clean a path to being like an impactful NBA player. But I don't think this was a negative game from Rupert by any means. I just think it was like he had a really loud first quarter, then he's quiet after that on offense. He struggled a little bit with some decision making late, but I think in general, this was like this was a neutral Rupert game with maybe some sort of, you could see the outlines of what he can be on defense. I like that Kris Murray took 17 shots. I do. That to me, that rocks. That's the number that I wanted to see in the box score, and I'm sharing it with you. I'm gonna have to lie about this box score stuff. I've been sharing all types of numbers from the box score. I really like that Kris Murray took 17 shots. That's what I want him to do. I want him to be aggressive. I want him to be aggressive when he struggles. I want him to continue to be aggressive the entire game. I want him to be the dude on the team who takes the most field goal attempts. I think that is undeniably the right thing for him. He took 9 threes. It's the right thing to do. He just didn't make enough shots. He had 2 really nice passes in the first half. 2 really nice passes. One, the driving kick to Rupert, another where he went baseline and then threw it back into Alex Reese for a bucket. Alex Reese, the backup center who's playing for the Remix, playing for the Blazers G League team. Couple nice drives, but he just, the shot looks, you can watch him and it looks like he is rushing. Whether it's his feet or his brain that is rushing, it looks like he's rushing. I think his base gets screwed up sometimes, like it's just his feet get a little hurried, and he's taking bad shots. I think he's overthinking it and saying like, I gotta make these. These are good looks. I gotta make them, leaving them short. He missed one hard off the side of the rim. And you could tell Donovan Clingan went to kind of go give him a high five, and Murray was like, his reaction was like, yeah, here's a high five, and like angry, right? Because it's just like, that is an ugly miss that I can make. I know I need to be better. This was not a good game from Kris. I like that he got the primary defensive assignment. They put him on Jared McCain, the lottery pick for the Sixers, or the first, early first round pick for the Sixers. I like that. I like that he's guarding a guard who can score, who's had some nice plays in the early summer showing. I like that he's getting those responsibilities. I think that's and you want to see that, right? You want to see him get everything on his plate. Hardest defensive assignment, shoot the most shots. This is exactly why Kris Murray is in Summer League, right? Can you be the dude? No. He can't be right now. I don't think it's too early to say he had 2 bad Summer League games. This is a nightmare. But Murray struggled on offense in year 1. He struggled on offense in these 2 games. He's got to find, whether it's confidence or skill, and it's both. It's a combination of both. Obviously, it's always a combination of things. It's rarely black and white. The world is gray. He needs to kind of work on his skill such that he feels like he is going to shoot threes and shoot them with confidence, like going to make threes and shoot them with confidence. That's a lot to ask for a guy who struggled to shoot the way he has, but I think there is a better offensive player in there. He's got a little bit of passing chops. He doesn't have the explosive physical burst. He had one rim check where he just got himself into the rim with a nice move and then got to the cup and had to go finish with his right hand, and he just didn't get high enough to make it an easy shot because he didn't have the burst. Some of it is physical limitations, right? He is going to have some physical limitations with this athleticism that's going to make it harder to get open for clean shots, maybe get off shots quickly. He's a little bit slower on the release and stuff like that. But he can... I think Kris Murray can be better than this. I just think it's pretty clear that when the season starts, he's out of the rotation. He's not going to be a day one contributor. There are other guys who are obviously ahead of him before this, but if this summer league was to make it trickier and be okay, well, what do we do with, I think the back half of the rotation for the wing core is Tumani Kamara and Matisse Thybulle. Those guys are locks ahead of him. Then it's Jabari Walker and a little bit of where they pencil in, try to get the Robert Williams, Donovan Clingan big guys. And I think maybe they'll try to treat Rob Williams as a 4 play. Maybe that's not a good idea, but it's how else is he going to get on the court? But Jabari Walker and Rob Williams, they're ahead of him too. And I think this summer league was maybe a chance for Kris to threaten those guys, to say well, Kris deserves some. You got to figure out a way to get him on the court some way, somehow. Obviously, trades can happen. If the Blazers roster changes, the calculation is totally different. But as things stand today, I think Kris Murray's outside the rotation on week 1, and it'll be on him to get better behind the scenes, because if this summer league was supposed to be his breakouts, he's just struggled. I don't think we don't need to put too much to make it too rosy. I think he's struggled, and he's going to have to be a stronger offensive player to find a way to crack an NBA rotation. Here's the good news. He gets other chances. The Blazers play more games this week. In fact, they play tomorrow night. Let's check the handy-dandy schedule. Tuesday night against the Washington Wizards at 5:30. Hopefully the Wizards are playing their dudes. Bub Carrington, Alex Sarr, Keyshawn George. They got some fun young players. I hope everybody's healthy and able to go. That should be a good one. Tuesday night. That means you are listening to Tuesday, July 16th show. That means on Wednesday, I will have a recap of that game. We'll talk about all of it. Look for that in your feeds. We do this 5 days a week, wherever you get podcasts, and also on YouTube. Tell your friends about it. Tell them it's free on all platforms. Then come back for tomorrow's show. I appreciate you listening. I'll talk to you soon.